Oh, thank you, Gabby. At 5 p.m. on Monday, January 23rd, 2023, I will call to order this meeting of the Housing Authority of the County of Monterey, Board of Commissioners. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Chair John Wizard.
Here.
Vice Chair Hans Buder.
Present.
Commissioner Kevin Healy.
Present.
Commissioner Kathleen Ballesteros.
Here.
Commissioner Viviana Gama.
Present.
Commissioner Francine Goodwin.
Present.
Thank you so much. We have a quorum. And just for the record, I don't mean to put anybody out on blast or anything. I just want to make sure, because we are an official group here, and I want the record to reflect that while the agenda that is on the screen says 2022, it really means 2023. That is the proper agenda for tonight's evening, and we'll be using that. Can I have Francine, can I bother you to lead us in the pledge this evening?
Sure.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. We will now move to comments from the public, item number 3. Any member of the public wishing to address the Board of Commissioners on matters not agendized on this evening's agenda, but still within the jurisdiction of the Housing Authority, please make yourself known. Either raise your hand or call out to get our attention so we can hear your comments. Your comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Commissioners, may I make a comment if I will? My name is John Rose.
Yeah, please go right ahead, Mr. Rose.
Thank you. This will be brief, Commissioners. I simply wish to commend the HACM on its commitment to resolving the issues that were addressed in Michi's MOU discussion during its January 11th board meeting. Resolving these financial and other material issues are important to Michi, the tenants they serve, as well as to other outside sources. Again, I just wanted to thank the commissioners as well as HACM in general, including its staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Any other members of the public wishing to give any public comment to the Board of Commissioners here? Gabby, do you have anybody on the phone?
No.
Okay, and I don't see anybody with their hand raised or anybody calling out. So I'll close public comment, but as I've done in previous meetings, if somebody is a few minutes late, we'll come back to them and make sure they have an opportunity to address us. And just as a quick follow-up on the public comment, I know that staff was, of course, present and taking notes, and I don't know what that timeline looks like, but I would ask Zulika, our executive director, to, as you're able, provide an update to the board and/or our partners at Michi about, with as much clarity as you can with regard to that MOU process.
For the MOU process, we are working on it, but we're looking at all the factors, the property management, what's going to be best for the residents, the financials that we have to prepare for them, and how all of that would work together in the future since we are separating. This is a lengthy process, but we are making it a priority. So at this time, we really just have notes and meetings scheduled to start performing these actions and look into them more deeply. But this would be probably at least 60 days before we have any type of draft in order to make sure that all of the details and all of the areas of concern have been addressed.
Okay, thank you so much for that update. And I don't know that it needs to be as formal as a board report, but just as we continue in the future, maybe a monthly email or just as part of your executive report, if you could continue to provide updates on that process, I would appreciate it.
I will.
Thank you very much. We will next move to presentations. Item number 4, is that you, Zulika?
Mm-hmm.
All right, please go
I know
ahead.
I got a little crazy background. Okay, on behalf of the Housing Authority of the County of Monterey and this Board of Commissioners, I would like to present this certificate of service to Monica Perales for 10 years of law service as an employee at HACM. I would also like to say to Monica, as the Executive Director, it has been a privilege to work with you in this short time, and I look forward to all the things that you're going to do in the future. If you would have anything that you would want to say, Monica, let us know so that you can say it at this time. Okay, Gabby,
Monica
did she have any?
She was unable to make it today.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, we will present this to her at work, and if she have anything that she want to say, we will let the board know.
Thank you so much, Zulika. And I just, on behalf of the board, we say this every single time, but I mean it very genuinely, as authentic as I can be. This organization only works because of the good people who are doing the work every day. We as commissioners, we are advisory, we discuss policy matters, but when it comes to the operations of the organization and making sure that those checks get issued and that those people are served, if it's not the employees who are there day in and day out, it's not happening. So we're so grateful for all of our employees' longstanding commitment to furthering the mission of providing the safe, decent, and affordable housing for all of our clients. So thank you very much, Zulika. I really appreciate your report.
Thank you, Chairman, and I'm sure that the staff really appreciates those words.
Well, we'll move now to the consent agenda, item number 5. We have 3 items. 5A is Resolution 3081 regarding Assembly Bill 361, which is the remote meetings legislation. Item 5B is the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting on November 28th, 2022. And item C is approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting on December 19th, 2022. Does anybody on the board want to pull any of those items for discussion? Okay, hearing and seeing none, I will ask if any members of the public, anybody attending the meeting, if they would like to pull item 5A, B, or C. Again, that's Assembly Bill 361 on remote meetings and the regular board meeting minutes from November 28th and December 19th. Any questions, concerns that you would like the board to discuss with you on that? Gabby, anybody on the phone?
No.
All right, well, we will close that and return to the board for action on the consent agenda items 5A, B, and C, AB 361 and minutes from November 28th and December 19th.
I make a motion to approve.
I second that.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Ballesteros and Vice Chair Buder, to move and second the approval of the consent agenda items 5A, 5B, and 5C again, and for the last time, resolution 3081 regarding remote meetings, AB 361, and then the regular board meeting minutes from November 28th and December 19th, 2022. A roll call vote. Actually, I beg your pardon. Now that it's been moved and seconded, we had the opportunity for the public to poll an item, but now we'll go out to the public for comment on that motion. Gabby, anybody on the phone?
No.
Okay, thank you so much. Public comment is closed. We'll return for a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Chairman John Wizard,
Aye.
Vice Chair Hans Buder,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin Healy,
Yes.
Commissioner Kathleen Ballesteros,
Yes.
Commissioner Viviana Gamma,
Yes.
Commissioner Francine Goodwin.
Yes.
Thank you so much. The motion passes unanimously. We'll now move to the reports of committees, starting first with Commissioner Ballesteros and the Personnel Committee.
We had no meeting this month.
Thank you so much. Now moving to Commissioner Gama for the Finance and Development Committee.
We did meet and everything is on the agenda, and I don't know if anybody else would like to join in from the meeting. Anything to add?
Any other commissioners that were in the Finance Development Committee meeting that would like to share about the events that took place there? All right, we'll move on. Thank you so much, Commissioner Gama. We'll move now to Michi AA. We see here, we had another meeting and talked about the transition and facilitating creating a memorandum of understanding to kind of nail down, you heard Mr. Rose refer to this earlier, kind of nail down the outline of how we would facilitate the transition as Michi and HACM move to separate into fully independent organizations. And from the update with our executive director just a moment ago, it looks like it'll be about 60 days to really describe and spell out each and every facet of the relationship that needs to get unwound. So I'm hopeful that as we get further into that process and get a little bit more clarity on the details of each of those things, that we'll be able to move a little bit faster. But of course, I appreciate that the staff already has their full scope of work and duties that before them, and they can only go as fast as they can go. So I'll stay tuned for updates from our executive director, and of course anything that comes from future Michi meetings, I'll make sure to bring back to the board. So that concludes the reports of committees, and we'll now move to number 7, the report of the secretary. Ms. Boykin, take it away.
Okay, thank you. My Wi-Fi is acting up a little bit, but basically what I've done is I've been having a lot of meetings with the staff, with the department, so that we can address all of the priority issues while at the same time making an outline for the changes that we need to make to the departments to have efficiency approved. I've also been participating in the meetings with the Homeless Coalition to see which ways that we can help as an agency and to continue our participation as board members. I had a meeting with the city permit office with Megan Hunter to discuss possible development opportunities, and we have a meeting scheduled with the Teamsters that will be coming up soon, and it'll be on my next report for development that had kind of started last year, but there were just a few issues that came up that we need to address. So we're gonna have this check-in meeting to get everybody's perspective on it and see what they want to do and kind of go from there to redo a plan. On top of that, we're also HUD did, and this is not on the report, but this just happened. We got an email from HUD where they want to meet monthly with the HCV department so that we can talk about utilization. And so I just wanted to make the board aware of that. And then Mr. Tori Gunsary, which I always mess up his last name, I did do a contract with him for 3 months of service to continue helping with the transition in some areas of opportunity that we discussed prior to, well, right after my employment.
Thank
so
you
if
very
anybody
much.
have any questions?
Yep, any questions from commissioners related to her report?
Yeah, Zulika, can you expand a little bit on what HUD was getting at with utilization? I think I saw it had dropped down again to like 67% or something, but what's the what was the thrust behind that?
We had a potential to utilize up to, I think she said like 95% in the HCV program. But unfortunately, right now in the program, everything is actually, I believe, at 54 to 67%. So there's a lot of room for improvement to get vouchers out on the street in the multiple programs that we have, because in the HCV department, you also have EHB vouchers, mainstream, family unification, and they are just not meeting their maximum utilization. Now, Tori did start to try to address that issue when the security deposit was increased for EHB. But there are other things that we're going to have to look at. And I'm just glad to say that we were already looking at them as far as the waiting list, eligibility, the whole process to see where we could improve. so that from the time the people get on the waiting list, it's shorter for them to actually get the voucher and then to help them find somewhere to stay.
So what is the, because I think it was like 0 new vouchers issued this month. I guess what is the holdup?
Well, now that I have a better answer for you on the next one, but just looking, I know and talking with the director, it seems like that the vouchers they already have on the street, the people are needing extensions and finding somewhere to stay. So they have so many that's already outstanding, they hadn't issued any new ones. And of course, we had to look back at waitlist management because we got a waiting list, but we do need to pull from it and do the lottery so that we can get some more people to issue vouchers to. And that was a software issue because they need some training on how to pull the lottery waiting list in the Yardi system. So it's a lot of different factors that are contributing to it, but we do have a plan and we're looking into it. But it's really something in almost every area. It's not just one thing.
But just so HUD singled us out and sent us a letter saying,
Well,
hey, we're happy with you.
Basically, us and some more authorities at the end. See, Section 8 is on a calendar year. So their funding goes from January to December. So once they start getting the December numbers in, they look at all the housing authorities and they see if it's anybody that had a potential to increase leasing. And if they do, and they have the money to do it, then they pick like probably the top 20 that they think they can help. And then they start having monthly calls with them to try to get them trained and to see what is the problem? Is it a lack of understanding of the program? Is it things in the community? What exactly is it that's causing the holdup from the time that they issue the vouchers to the time the person is housed?
Yeah. You know, I mean,
So
we just made a huge boost in the payment standards and we also just significantly streamlined the process of qualifying people for the program. Zulika, I don't know if you were, I think you probably.
Yeah, Tori kind of told me about some of it.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just kind of like a little bit
surprised that they on their list.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
what
'cause
exactly
even-
the issue, you know?
Well, even with those changes, and Tori did a great job, those were some areas that needed to be addressed, but it's also some internal practices. It's some internal things that we need to address before the utilization is going to be able to be improved. Because having the vouchers, increasing the money, it's still, if you're not getting the people off the waiting list and then assisting them to get somewhere to stay fast enough or getting your referrals in, because some of those programs, they had to get referrals from community partners. And that's something that we've been working on reestablishing so that those referrals can come in. But it's a lot of factors to it. And so that's why we just really looking at the whole department from eligibility to inspections, the whole facet, just to see where is the drop, what happens to make them get stagnated.
Yeah. Okay.
But I will say this, when we got the email from HUD, I was not surprised based on the reports that Tori had shared.
Yeah.
But I think they were excited, and I was also glad that we were already ahead trying to find solutions before, they initiated it. So that'll be something that'll be in our favor.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you for your report. It's always good to get an update from the executive's office to see sort of a high level kind of what's going on across the organization. We'll move now to item 8A, the human resources report.
Good evening, members of the board. For the HR report in January, our focus continues to remain on the recruitment for the director positions listed on the report. Right now, we are currently in the process of interviewing for the Director of Housing Management, which begins tomorrow morning. We did have a potential candidate for the Director of Finance position. However, that candidate has decided to move back to his hometown and is no longer interested in the position. And because the Director of Finance position is of high importance, we also have reached out to a couple of recruiting vendors to help aid in the search for potential prospects. We're hoping to have a selected qualified candidate by the end of February, if not sooner. And then lastly, for the report, With help from our Yardi and Paylocity partners, we're maximizing the use of each online platform by designing learning plans for each department to help strengthen the productivity and efficiency within the departments itself. That's all for the HR report this month, unless there are any questions.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, I had a quick question. Which recruiters have you reached out to?
So right now we're reaching out to, I have a setup time with Gonzagons. She's gonna meet me on Thursday at 1 o'clock. And then I have EmployNet, Robert Half. I'm trying to kind of talk bases with them as well. In addition to that, it's also posted on FADA and NARO at this moment.
Okay. Have you guys re-engaged with Stan at all? I'm curious as to where that contract stands.
I'm not too sure. I work with them particularly, unless Zalika, you have any info on that?
No, I'm not sure who that is. Tori did mention that he was working with somebody briefly, but he said they hadn't did anything.
Yeah, I'd be curious. We had engaged with him. Do me a favor and see if you can just get the engagement outline from Tori just to review that. I want to make sure that we didn't pay any money up front, at engagement.
Okay.
If we hadn't had any work put in.
Okay, I'll get that from him. And I would like to say too, with us putting this on the FADA and the NARO website, I think we'll get a greater pool of qualified candidates because they'll have the housing experience that we need. And even though we haven't filled the position, we have been working heavily with BDO and concentrating on the finance department, and the department as a whole has seen great improvement.
Yeah, because I think that right now the pool that we're getting, we're having people apply for the positions. And it's just that they're not kind of meeting the criteria that we want for this director position.
All right. Thank you for those details. We'll move to the finance report, please.
Hello, everybody. For the finance report this month, one of the big things that we have is that we've gotten drafts for the HDC audit for 2021 and the HACM audit for 2020. We'll know more about finalizing them on Thursday when we have our meeting with the auditors. We've also finalized the Tynan audit. But what this means for us is that we can start getting together our initial items for the next year's audit. So we're on schedule to get finished by April. And then we've completed our, in our department, we had the flooring redone and new cubicles put up. So there would be more space for people, and that's just about finished. Tomorrow, I think we're moving some people around and making sure that all of the data and the phones and everything are working. And then that will be completed. Also, the budgets are coming up, and that's another project that we're going to be working on in order to get like the HDC and the HACM budget done by April. So I don't think I put that on my report. We are doing some training with BDO, and right now we're mostly focusing on the VMS, getting that completed for last year, and then getting it in order so it's simplified for us to get it entered on time and not have so many corrections. So that's really all except for what's in my report. Does anybody have any questions?
I do. So it stated that those audits that you mentioned, so they're completed, right? If that's what you're saying.
The HDC 2021, we have drafts.
Oh,
So
okay.
there might be a few items left, and then we have to process our adjusting entries, make sure everything balances, and then we can move forward with the next year.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you so much. We'll move now to the property management report.
You're on mute, Jose.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon to everyone, all the commissioners. I just wanted to go over a few things on my report. The rent studies for Chular, we had the agency that did the study out in the sites. They completed all of their research and they got all the documents they needed. So now we just got to wait for the results. They should be in the next 2 weeks. We're also going to be doing CNA for the FLC sites, the capital needs assessment, so that we can determine what course of action are we going to take with these properties in the near future. If it's better to redevelop the property or look for another type of funding. So that's the purpose of that study and the CNA. Also working on the renewal of the retail agreements with Comcast, and all that information has also been sent. And we're just waiting on the drafts for the agreements. We've been working also on vacancies. We've had a high turnover rate in the last 30 to 60 days. At the end of December, we started getting a lot of vacancies throughout the portfolio. Most of the vacancies that are happening in Monterey is because of deceased tenants. It's been really hard right now trying to get people in, especially with the storms. But now people are actually returning our calls, they're returning our paperwork, so that process is moving along. We're also having a great number of staff helping in the turnover of the vacancies. We've been having a little bit of trouble with some of the vendors, like the flooring vendor, especially because they are short-staffed or don't have materials available, because a lot of the materials are back ordered. So that's kind of hurting our turnover time frame. So we're working with multiple vendors trying to alleviate that, and we're trying to pull more resources so that we can get those units turned over quicker. But unfortunately, there's a lot of issues with materials not being available. So we're having to work with different vendors for that. Other than that, everything else is on the report. And I just also want to make the board aware, we had an incident today. There was a small fire in one of the units in Castroville. Everybody is okay. There's only some damage from the fire in the unit. And there's also some water damage to the unit upstairs and the unit downstairs. We're getting the families into hotels, and then I will be submitting a incident report to HDC so that we can work on the repairs for the incident. And that just happened probably about an hour and a half ago. So I just want to make everybody aware. But other than that, all the other details are on the report, unless any board members have any questions.
Chair, I had a quick question.
Please go ahead.
Pueblo Del Mar, it looked like it was 24% occupied with 42 vacancies. I know we've had trouble because at that property we need these referrals, but it's also been it's an issue that's been going on for a while. Can you sort of describe what actions we've taken, sort of what our plan is to fix that?
We're having the biggest issue we have is the number of referrals that we receive for that property. So on average, we get about 10 referrals at a time, and they don't send more than 10 referrals at a time. Out of the 10 referrals that we receive, it normally takes about 30 days for us to go through the process and for Sun Street to go to go through their intake process. When they provide us the information and their intake information, by then we have to call the residents to come in. A lot of them are homeless. Sometimes we can't get a hold of them. Sometimes they don't respond at all. So it takes about 30 days on average to evaluate those 10 referrals. And we only get sometimes 1 or 2 people at a time. The problem is that a lot of the people that are already housed are coming up to their 18-month end of the program participation, and then they have to move out. Or A lot of them don't make it through the 18 months and they're failing to adhere to the program's rules and regulations. And then we have to terminate their tenancy or they have to move out. So the rate at which you're moving people in, it's very slow compared to the rate at which people are moving out. And I asked for at least 100 referrals at a time because that will give us more people, but they will not provide us more than 10 at a time. And it's very frustrating for us because we have the units and we can't find people quick enough to house them. And I will be visiting the property with the executive director this Friday. We're going to be going over some of these processes, and then we'll have a more detailed, course of action at the next board meeting on how to address this issue, because it's just an ongoing a problem at this property, and is really, really hard. The vacancy rate at that property is just hard to maintain.
Can we find different referral partners?
Excuse me, Hunt?
Can we find different referral partners?
Well, it's because of the grant that we have. We have to go through the COC, and it's very difficult to get more. I mean, I've asked and I requested more than 10 referrals at a time. I mean, we normally, like for all of our properties, when we have vacancies, we send on average on 50 to 100 letters when we have vacancies, because not everybody's going to respond, not everybody's going to be qualifying. But at this rate, it's just impossible to try to keep the property leased up. Yeah. I mean, just as an example, if I move a family in, I'm evicting right now. Currently, we're under eviction for 3 families. So I move 1 in and then I have to move 3 out.
Yeah, it's
just an ongoing, and it's very difficult to keep them housed. A lot of them are in recovery. So a lot of them, what happens is they relapse, and then all of a sudden they stop paying the rent, or they abandon the unit. We can't find them. And it's very difficult to work with that population. And it's just, there's a lot of issues and a lot of roadblocks that we need to address with Sun Street. Also the funding, we need to look at the funding. We would like to make it as a permanent housing facility, not so much as a transitional housing, but there are some restrictions on the deed that don't end until 2026. So we need to look and explore what we can do with this property. And that's why we're going to be visiting the property with the executive director this Friday.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like we've been kind of hearing kind of a similar story for a while. So I'm glad you guys are going to go and have a meeting and try to, figure it out. So that's awesome. I mean, at some point, you just have to tell these folks, right? Like, we're not going to partner with you unless something changes because it's not working, right? So
yeah, it's very frustrating, very, very frustrating. I also for Sun Street, gets really frustrated because they're the ones that have to make initial contact. They're the ones that have to show that the tenant's actually homeless, and it's very difficult to get the hold of the applicants or to even find proof that they're actually homeless. Because some of them, they can just do a self-certification, but HUD said we cannot use self-certifications solely to prove they're homeless. So that's why it's proven even more difficult now that we can't find qualified residents for this property.
Commissioner Ballesteros?
Okay, I just had a quick question, Jose. So
yes.
Also, I noticed that one parkside you have vacant units. So is that waiting list? Is there a waiting list still open for that?
One parkside, yeah. I mean, we have the vacancies, but that's on the lease up process.
Oh, okay.
We had a meeting today. We're looking at housing another 5 units this week, and then we're having recurrent meetings every Monday to stay on top of that lease up. That should be completed. We need to complete that in February. So we need to all push and work together. We're working closely with Maria's team because this is a project-based site. So they have to undergo 2 different evaluations. One is through Maria's team to determine eligibility for the project-based voucher program. And then they have to go through an eligibility interview with property management to qualify them for the tax credit part of the program. So I'm working with Maria's team. We've had a meeting and we are going to be having Maria's staff present during our orientations so that they can be there and they can provide the tenants at the same time with their paperwork so that we can kind of kill two birds with one stone, having both manager and Maria's staff there providing the documents, and that will expedite the process. We're also sharing some of the documents that we collect with Maria's team to expedite their evaluation, as well as background checks that we already run on some of the applicants, so that Maria's team can expedite their evaluation, and that way we can move faster at a faster rate with the lease up process. But we're hoping that this will be completely leased up in February.
Thank you, Jose.
You're welcome.
Other questions from commissioners? Okay, thank you so much. We'll now move to the development report.
Good evening, everybody. I'd just like to, first of all, start by saying thank you to Zulika and to Kevin for attending our grand opening event last Thursday. We missed the rest of you that were unable to attend, but it was a really good grand opening. We had a lot of staff from, our development team and the housing authority, from all the different departments, and it was really, really nice to see a lot of the tenants able to join us as well that day. We did have Supervisor Alejo and Senator Caballero, who unfortunately had to send representatives. We had President Biden out on the Central Coast that day, so they went over to see him. But we got some really nice certificates from them, and they congratulated us, and we've got those. I'll have to bring them to the main office so we can put them up in the conference room so everyone can see them. But it was a really nice event, and I just wanted to thank everyone that attended, and just let everyone know that our investor that was able to make it out to the event, Hudson Housing, he was really impressed with the development. He was really happy, and he talked with, I believe he spoke with both Zulika and Kevin about potential future opportunities that they'd like to partner with us. So any additional, any development opportunities that we may have coming up, he said to, not hesitate to call him and reach out. So anytime he said that he'd be in the Central Coast, he'd come up and visit and say hello. So that was really good that he was able to make it. Our IT migration, we're now all on the same server with hamonterey.org as our email address now. So that's going to make things a lot easier for sharing documents and large files with our folks at the main office. We've got staff working on just a few final items for wrapping up Parkside. We've got the entry gates that are going to be finally installed next week. The city finally approved that permit, so that should be complete, and that's the last item on the list for Parkside. We've got the final draw application out with the bank. And then on Tynan, just that last, those last 4 handrails for those units, and that'll be it on those jobs. And then our team is working on, as I pointed out in my report, we've got a couple of equity payments and some long due diligence lists that we'll be working on and having weekly meetings internally to get those out to our partners. Zulika and I are going to take some trips out to some of our sites. I think Greenfield is first on our list to see about potentially developing it or what we can do with that property since we own it. And then, like she mentioned, we're going to meet with the city at the end of the month. So that's something to look forward to. So if anybody has any questions on anything else in my report, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you so much, and I apologize both to you and Jose. I'm apparently very popular this evening, so we'll now move over to the housing programs report. Maria?
Yes. Good evening, commissioners. I would like just to highlight some items in our report. We were just notified from HUD regarding our VMS, some data that was not being entered for the family unification. So I would be working with the finance department to try to get that information into the system. We're also planning on opening the waiting list next month for Junsei. This is for the 1 bedrooms in Marina. We're also currently working and getting closer to closing some items that we have pending with the auditor. And I'm also going to be working with Zulika regarding our waiting list, because I believe last month when Tori talked to the board regarding our process for the preferences that we had, the reasons why we were not able to get so many applicants leased, because of we believe we had like 13 to 15 preferences, but now that we're now switching to lottery, so I am working with Yardi to try to get that set up. So so hopefully we'll be able to get more families out in the streets, so they put more vouchers out there. But if the commissioners has any questions in regards to my report, I believe that's everything pretty much on my report.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. That concludes the information items, and we'll now move to commissioner comments. Let's start with Commissioner Goodwin.
Thank you for a very informative meeting. It seems like things are really moving along, and everybody's got everything's hands-on, and it's wonderful things are happening. It's really a nice positive way to start the year. Thank you, everybody, the hardworking staff, and to our new executive director, and even the board. They're always here. Anyway, thank you to everybody for all your hard work.
Thank you, Commissioner Goodwin. Commissioner Gama?
I would just like to commend Monica Perales for 10 years of service, and then also for the grand opening of Parkside. I'm glad it was a nice event. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it due to work. And just to all the staff, thank you for all your hard work and dedication to the Housing Authority.
Thank you, Commissioner Gama. Commissioner Ballesteros?
First of all, I want to congratulate Monica Perales for the 10 years of service. We appreciate your hard work and serving our community. So thank you, Monica. I also want to acknowledge Zulika and Carolina and everybody that attended the grand opening, Commissioner Haley at Parkside. I also was not able to attend because I am retired, but I'm substituting right now in my old position. And because of the holiday, they took time away from me paying a lot of vendors. So it was worth it. We paid 2.5 million in invoices. So I just want to, thank you for those that were there representing. And I would just want to say thank you to the staff, Silika, Maria, Jose, Carolina. Also, the HR, I can't remember their names, I'm sorry. But thank you also to finance for all the information you provide. It doesn't go unnoticed. And as I study the agenda the night before, it helps, for all the information that's provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ballesteros. Commissioner Healy?
I want to congratulations for Monica and all the staff for continuing to do a great job and exceed expectations. And it very much, I'll reiterate my comments in the HDC meeting, but special thanks to Tina and to Zulika. It was a pleasure to get the opportunity to spend some time with both of those ladies and be part of the grand opening event and get a VIP tour of the Parkside property. During our VIP tour to share with the board, Carolina and I actually inadvertently got invited into one of the residents' apartments, And she was exclaiming to Carolina her satisfaction and appreciation and how much she was enjoying being in the new facility. So it was very gratifying.
Thank you, Commissioner Healy. I appreciate you sharing that extra detail. Vice Chair Booter?
We should have had Kevin go last, but I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I think there are a few things that have been hanging out there for a little while here. There are ongoing issues that it would be really nice to tackle them. And I'm glad that, whether it's Zulika going there on Friday to go visit, Pueblo Del Mar, or, working to figure out what's going on with the voucher program and how we actually get that utilization rate up. Those are issues that have been with us for months and months, and, in some cases longer than that. And so I'm excited to see, Zulika on the job and, being a change agent. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, and I'll be relatively brief and just thank everyone for being here this evening. I know we all have various responsibilities, especially in the dinner hour, and I appreciate folks coming by to participate in this meeting. I would also like to apologize for not being able to attend the grand opening. Life pulls us in many directions, and I'm grateful for Commissioner Healy being able to attend and report back on that great news from the tenant, and hearing Carolina's update about the investors, feeling good about the development and making sure that we continue to leave those positive feelings and continue to build a positive reputation about what we're doing out here in Monterey County. So I'm just grateful for all of the good work we continue to do, and would like to support Commissioner Booter's comments about continuing to wrap up those loose ends and continuing to professionalize our organization as we look to stabilize with new management and support the existing management that we've got, so that we are providing the best and renowned service we can to people all throughout Monterey County. And with that, there is no other business on this agenda, and so we are adjourned.
It is 5:48 by my watch. And I think we'll dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance since we already enjoyed that. Let's see. Roll call. Or excuse me, we're called to order. Yes, let's take a roll call, please.
Okay. Chair Kevin Healy.
Present.
Vice Chair Francine Goodwin.
Present.
Okay. Director Kathleen Ballesteros.
Present.
Director Hans Booter.
Present.
Director Viviana Gama.
Present.
And Director John Wizard.
Here.
I believe that brings us to a quorum. So let's entertain any comments from the public. Item 3.
Director Haley, there's no one with their hand up and no one's on the call.
Well, hopefully they'll have the opportunity to join us at our next meeting. And if they should join us late, please let us know, Nora, so that we can invite them to give their comments.
Will do.
Moving on to agenda item 4, the consent agenda. We have approval of the minutes from the December 19th meeting, along with resolution MDC 223, confirming Assembly Bill 361. I'd entertain a motion.
I move approval.
I'll second it.
It's been moved by Director Booter, seconded by Vice Chair Goodwin. Roll call, please.
Chair Kevin Healy.
Yes.
Vice Chair Francine Goodwin.
Yes.
Director Kathleen Ballesteros.
Yes.
Director Hans Booter.
Yes.
Director Viviana Gama,
Yes.
and Director John Wizard.
Yeah, yes.
After passage of the consent agenda, we'll move on to item 5, the information items. Carolina or Jose, anything to add to the development and property management reports from your last report out in the HACM meeting?
No, I don't have anything else to add, Commissioner.
No, nothing to add.
Very good. Thank you both very much. Now we will convene to close session for Government Code Section 54956.2, Subpart D, Subpart 2, one case of anticipated litigation. Carolina, do you want to take over host responsibilities from Nora and close the meeting and make sure only the appropriate attendees are part of this conversation? Or would
Should
that be Zulika?
I think Zulika, right? I don't think I have.
Yeah, I would have to do it.
Yeah. Nora, can you make Zulika host?
Thank you.
And also just a reminder, we need to have the recording stopped. So I'll do that as well.
You can stop it, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, I'm not host anymore, so I can't. I should have done it before. Sorry.
Okay, I'm stopping the recording. Okay.
Okay, we are back in open session.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Okay, coming out of our closed session meeting, the HDC Board of Directors took no action and have nothing therefore to report out, which concludes our closed session item 6 for this particular agenda and brings us to item 7, Director Comments. Let me try to go in reverse order from what Commissioner Wizard put forward during the HACM meeting. So let's start then with Commissioner Wizard, or excuse me, in this case, Director Wizard.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Thanks for running an efficient meeting.
Excellent. Thank you for your keeping it brief on your comments. It was a quick meeting and an efficient agenda. So appreciation to all. Moving on to, I believe, Director Booter.
No, John stole my comment. So good night, everybody.
Thank you, Director Booter. In reverse order, I believe Director Ballesteros was next, please.
Thank you to everybody, and thank you, Kevin. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Director Gama.
Just thank you to everyone.
Thank you. Director Goodwin.
Just thank you to everyone and have a great week. Thank you.
Well, I would echo my comments from the HACM meeting. Nora, I'm not sure. Actually, Nora logged off, didn't she? Well, Carolina, Zulika, everybody, it was a pleasure participating in the One Parkside grand opening. And thank you all for all of your good and hard work. And I think we're going to make record time in terms of the efficiency of this particular meeting, and bid you all a good evening and look forward to talking to you and seeing you very soon. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.